What's up, guys? It's Brad from JBHMEDIA here, back again with another Blender 3D shot breakdown. Now, there's not a specific technique I'm going to be talking about today, but hopefully going through the process of this shot will still be interesting and helpful in designing your own. The shot I'm going to break down today is one I made for a sci-fi trailer that didn't make the final cut. This helicopter flies into the shot and then lands in this apocalyptic, futuristic city. This whole shot is a bit inspired by the movie Dread, so if you're interested in futuristic sci-fi, you might check that movie out. Anyway, back to the shot breakdown. Here we have the solid model of the environment. The modeling is pretty basic. The buildings are simply cubes that I scaled to fit the environment. And then for the entry barriers to the tunnel, I made some cylinders and then duplicated them at a fixed distance across the entryway. The concrete barrier closest to the camera started out as just a basic cube. I then took one of the sides of the cube and extruded it several times from top view to wrap it around the building to create sort of a military type police station. Then, using the text tool inside of Blender, I created the mandatory checkpoint sign, and then for the ground I just added a plane. And anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what I personally modeled in this scene. Both the helicopter and the barbed wire surrounding the buildings are more advanced and were from blend swap users. Their modeling would have taken considerably longer, so I decided to take a shortcut there. So the next step to the process was to create materials for the models. I started by creating the material for the upper building, which is simply a basic diffuse layer with a skyscraper window texture overlaid on top. I then added the material on the tunnel entryway to the complex. Near the bottom right, I used a basic concrete texture, as well as the corresponding spec and bump maps, which added a little bit more glossiness to the wall there. For the orange and black stripes on the concrete barriers out front, I did a similar technique, but realized that the bump map actually added a bit too much for the look that I was going for, so I ended up just using the diffuse and specular maps. I then added a crumbling brick wall texture to the wall under the mandatory checkpoint sign, and its matching bump and specular maps generated with Crazy Bump, and finally added a basic diffuse texture of a parking lot for the ground. I didn't mention before, but I wanted to add some reflections to the windows in the building, so I simply created a pane of glass to lay over every part of the building texture that should have been reflective. Anyway, if we render the shot right now, we get an image like this, which isn't bad, but I wanted to tweak it a little bit in the compositor. I ended up not doing too much, but I did boost the brightness a bit with the RGB curves, and again added several glare nodes. Probably the most notable thing I did was add some mist to the shot using the Z-Pass and map value node. I thought the mist added a sense of depth to the shot, especially at the beginning when the helicopter flies in. After that, I simply brought the saturation down a bit and added some quick color grading and got this final result. So yeah, I hope going through this helps anyone trying to get the process of creating a shot in Blender. As you can see, there's really no perfect way to design a shot. It's a lot of experimenting with different techniques to find out what works for you. Anyway, like and subscribe if you like this video. The JBHMedia Facebook page is in the description, so like it there if you want to get the latest updates in short films. As always, feel free to leave a comment with any questions you have or any tips you have for me as well.